Hello, hello. Welcome again to another episode of the All In podcast with Nate Pao. Today I'm joined with Chris Thomson with StudentWorks. Chris is the co-owner, head coach of the StudentWorks Management Program, a prestigious entrepreneurship training program for university students across Eastern Canada that helps them develop the necessary skills to become the leaders of tomorrow. Their student leaders satisfy over 10,000 customers every summer. Chris has been doing this for 30 plus years and has grown over 161 plus millionaires with their proven system. Their programs allow every hardworking young 18-year-old to make over 100,000 revenue within their first year of business. On top of that, 99% of our students are able to land great paying jobs within the first year out of school. Chris is also host of the top rated podcast, Leaders of Tomorrow, that hit the top 100 when we initially launched back in 2019. Every week, he has captured and published hundreds of their alumni stories and how they've been able to build upon the skills and values they discovered during their time in the program. Welcome to the show, Chris. How are you?
Fantastic, Nate. Thanks so much, and really excited to be here.
Glad to have you. So my first question is, do I have to be 18 or how do I get in this program? Because I want to be one of those 161 plus alumni graduated millionaires. That's a pretty big statistic, right?
It's pretty amazing, and it's up to 177 now. So,
Oh,
the program's designed for university students who are in full-time school. So it's not necessarily are all of them. Sometimes they're in gap years. Sometimes they're part time. Sometimes we just recruited somebody who was through school, working in a job she wasn't quite excited about, and thought this would be a great idea to kind of pivot and go reestablish her career moving in the right direction.
all exciting stuff. So I'm kind of interested in two things, but we'll start with the beginning and then we'll
Sure.
move into my second question. So how do you get involved with this program? You've been doing for 30 plus years. Like, what was it like? What was your calling to start this? How did you get involved? And what were some of the challenges you overcame to take it where it's become?
Yeah, so I was a University of Toronto student in Canada in 1984, and I bumped into a friend through a friend, and we ran an orientation together, a big party on campus, and I met this other student leader, and he was running with his business. There were 5 other student leaders that summer, and I joined that program. So I consider myself the 10th owner operator, or 10th franchisee of the business. I excelled. I eventually became a partner, and then I bought the business in 1993 from that gentleman, Helmut Beeman, and we. And so, in terms of challenges, gosh, there are just so many. It's pretty incredible right now. We're going to do $18 million this coming season, and just how many times it's just constantly improving, and all sorts of different ways. And then also team members, bringing on better and smarter and incredible team members and partners in the business that have made all the difference to get to where we are.
Awesome stuff. So, how do the students get involved in your program and what's kind of like their call to action? Are they always working on the same business? Like you said, you graduated 170
Yeah.
plus millionaires now. You've sent them all on their way. Like, what are they coming up with to build these businesses on their own?
Yeah, so they are running. So we recruit them in the fall. So we've just completed or almost completed our recruiting season. So we go onto campus. Now there's no campuses, so we reached out to them virtually. We had all sorts of returning operators. We have all sorts of referrals from those operators because they had an amazing season. And during January, February, March, and April, we teach them how to sell. We teach them how to market. They recruit their teams, and then in the summer, May to August, they're going out and running their own window cleaning or painting businesses. The reason why we've co-created Millionaires is because when they leave our program, using the skills and habits and training that they've had, they go into banking or law or real estate or run their own business. And over time, over decades, a whole group of them have become millionaires. So, and frankly, what excites me most about what I do, Nate, is actually that is yes, what pays me and why I have a good lifestyle and why I've been successful is because what we do during that summer or that year. But really, what's amazing is the habits, the mindsets, the skill sets that we teach so that people can go out and really crush it in the real world.
Well, that's kind of an interesting way. You talk about doing these non-glamorous jobs, right? Like
Yeah.
window washing. I forgot the other one you said, but
Painting.
they're
Painting.
basically
Yeah.
labor intensive. Go out there, paint a house, mow a lawn, whatever it is. But I think everybody these days is going, "Hey, I want to be a college student. I want to be an
Yeah.
entrepreneur. I want to
Yeah.
create the next app. I want to be the next Instagram billionaire." And for most people, that's not going to happen. But
Yes.
what you're learning at a young age of being an entrepreneur in that is one, you're learning a lot of hard work, what it takes to
Yeah.
like build something. Two, you're learning to work with teams, and you're also, I'm because there's so many kids in the program at one time. You're learning to network with your peers and build business relationships that are strategic. And even though those are forged and kind of like, hey, we're young, we don't know where we're going, a lot of those relationships probably turn into successful relationships down the road. Maybe you started some other business, and
Yes.
like you said, I want to get connected to. I need some lending. Well, you have somebody that's in a strategic place in a bank because they've gone through the same program as you. How do you, showcase students the long term benefit of what they're doing so that they realize like, hey, what you're learning today, like window washing, all that stuff, that's good, it's hard work, but but the real skills you're learning don't really materialize for years down the road.
Well, so the biggest thing is how we recruit them. So number one, Nate, if when I'm sitting down with someone can't give me just a big dream that they're aiming at, a big goal that they're aiming at, I don't want to invest in them. Like, because it costs us $5,000 to invest in them just to run the program. So that's a big thing is that right from the start they see this is why this is going to make a difference so that I can achieve my career aspirations, and so that then the other piece they see is exactly what you've said is these are good chance going to be really important contacts for me, the fellow operators who I'm doing this with, and these mentors and guides are going to be really important for me in the future. And then finally, the skills and the experience that I'm getting here are going to make a real huge difference. And you pointed something out really, really well, Nate, is that, you know, it's not as competitive in the trades. It's not as competitive in the simple businesses. People are all
Mhm.
chasing the like the Instagram and Facebook and banking and law. Like that's where in medicine, that's where you draw the smartest of the smart people. So it's kind of really pretty smart to go into something that all the smart people aren't. And I think there's kind of a oh wow, I don't want to be in the trades. Well, the reason someone doesn't want to be in the trades, real good chances because what it does to their hands. But if you look at my hands, I know you can't feel them, but they're really, really they're not rough. I don't go and work the trades, and so we teach people again not how to be a tradesperson, but how to lead trades, how to sell trades, how to create systems and processes to make customers happy and to clean and paint their homes.
I think that's a really important thing to point out that, like, you don't always have to go into these glamour, high profile
Yes.
professions because one, the chances of you hitting those successes are going to be harder if it's filled with, the best and the brightest. But also, like, I read a book, and I think it's called The Millionaire Next Door or something like
Yes.
that. One of those
Yep.
books, and talks about people that are high income earners and people that have high net worth. And the majority, or not the majority, but there was like a disproportionate number of people in non glamorous jobs that were high net worth millionaires
Yes.
than, say, doctors and lawyers and stuff like that. They had high incomes, but they didn't have high net worth. And those tended to be like, I remember the one that stood out was dry cleaning businesses. And you go
Yeah.
and you say, man, like, why would I own a dry cleaner? Like you sit in a shop and you do nothing all day, but taking clothes and iron and wash them. And it's like, that's not glamorous, but there's so many people that made millions of dollars doing that, probably opening
Yes.
multiple locations. And it got me thinking, when I was a kid, like when I would go to like the nice neighborhood in the town I was at, the people that had the biggest houses, like, you thought, like, oh, they had these, like, these high profile jobs. And I remember one person, they sold fire extinguishers. Like,
Okay.
that was their business. They sold fire extinguishers. And you're like, that's not glamorous.
Yes.
And it's just pretty basic. And I
Yeah.
think a lot of people, um, forget that. And then as I was going through my career, I came up through the construction background. I was an office boy. I did do some summers in construction, but for the most part, I was an guy. But people go, hey, I don't want to go in the trades because they think that's what you're going to do for. If I'm digging ditches at 18, I'm going to be digging ditches at 38, and I'm going to be
Yes.
digging ditches at 68. And that's not always the case, because if you're
No.
smart and you put your head to it, you're going to go from digging ditches to foreman to superintendent to build, maybe even creating your own business out of
Yeah.
it. And there were so many people that if you saw them walking down the street, you'd say, "Oh my God, that guy's probably done got a penny to his name." But they were loaded, and they had, owned all their equipment outright. They just were making a ton of money, and had a lot of high income, because they started off being in the trade, and they were smart, and they put their talents to good work, and they said, hey, I could create a business out of this, and they understood the business process, and they were able to create a lifestyle that they wanted. And I think that that definitely gets completely overlooked. So I love what you're doing with the kids and going, like, "Hey,
Yeah.
let's get dirty. Let's learn hard
Well,
work, what that looks like, and take it to the next level."
yeah, and to share a story, I have a friend and an enormous multinational Fortune 100, very, very senior, running hundreds of millions of dollars worth of business. So doing, very well, okay, wealthy. And he looks at a bunch of the tradespeople he works at and he goes, they are so much wealthier than me. I am so much more, not so much more capable. I could have done that and been so much better off.
Mhm.
And really, in many ways, less stressful, less challenging. And he just never saw that opportunity to go into. And he excelled, and again, good life, etc. But a lot of people don't really see the opportunity in this whole space.
Yeah. So what are some of the challenges that your students face as they're entering the program, they start getting plugged in with it, and what are the things that they learn to overcome?
Well, I'd say the biggest challenge that all entrepreneurs and business people need to overcome is their ability to make a commitment and keep that commitment. So we get started in January, and it's cold in Canada, and they're out canvassing. Okay, and so Nate, somebody sets up a plan, and well, great, I'm going to go out canvassing from 9 till noon, and then I'm going to do some estimates in the afternoon for customers who are interested, and then we talk to them and we say, how did that go? And sometimes they didn't go from 9 till noon. Sometimes they didn't get out of their car, or so and that's all part of the process. It's getting them to sort of understand that success in their life will be dependent on, are they going to make their plan? First of all, they make a plan, and then did they do it? And then the second issue is just how well did they do it? So we really start baby steps. Is that, are they going out and doing the work? And then once they are doing the work, then we're continuing to, of course, build their skill set, role play. How can they do better? Oh, given the time that you spend, how can we get better at that? But I would say that's a big part of this is there's an enormous amount of care, attention, coaching, training, online information for them to really, really excel.
Mhm. And when they complete the program, are they in it for just like one season, or is this like an ongoing thing through their college term?
Well, we do our best to enroll all of our top operators back for another season. If you think about it, sometimes they'll have, co-op terms that they need to do for accounting or different types of things. We have a hard time holding on to them in finance, but we return 50% of our operators every year is kind of what we expect to return. So we're pretty excited about that. So in many ways, it's almost like half of our business returns for the next year, because they're likely to do 50%, as much as the next year, or possibly more.
Mhm. And then when a student has completed the program, like, what's next for them? What do they typically move on to next? And how do you keep those relationships, that alumni network, strong, and be able to see, like, hey, like, look at all these people that have,
Yeah.
had success through the program.
Well, great question. So a lot of them are pretty clear, meaning when they're going through for law or medicine or accounting, those things are pretty clear. There's a certain group of people who go on to entrepreneurial, endeavors. They're clear. They maybe have a plan. They want to go do something. They're moving in that plan. Sometimes in the trades, and then the other place that we place a lot of people is into sales organizations. So, and frankly, we place them. We have headhunters out there looking to find our people because they know how successful they are, and so then you go up the sales route, and then they'll end up having two choices when they excel. They'll either say, no, I'm good, I'll just stay in sales and B2B sales, of course, or
Mhm.
they move into sales management, move up to become a director or those types of roles. So those are different spaces that our teams tend to go.
Okay. You talked a bit about bringing in mentors and educators and people that are thought leaders in the industry. Who are some of the people that you find inspiring that you mentored from, and what are some of those lessons that you take and instill back to your students?
Well, I'm a huge reader, so certainly, Jim Collins and Napoleon Hill, and there's just so many books that I read. The one course that I just love and is Landmark Education. They teach a whole group of courses that are really transformational leadership. I'm a big believer that the real breakthrough in your life comes from you understanding you. You don't have business problems. You have personal problems that are being reflected in your business. The better I can get a handle on me, the better I can manage my own integrity, and my commitment, myself. The more successful I can be in my business. So those types of transformational programs really look inside yourself are the things that I would most recommend. And I've referred hundreds of our students to go and do those types of programs.
Yeah, I love that looking inside of yourself, and that's something. Actually, even today, I was having a conversation with a I guess a mentor friend of mine
Yeah.
about, when you start looking within you as being like, hey, you're the cause and the solution of all your
Yes.
problems, right?
Yes.
If it starts and ends with you, the world gets a lot easier. And you sit there and go, hey, life's not fair. I didn't get the right leads or I didn't do the right things. You go, well, did I? Did I do everything? And when everybody's I tried everything, like, there's no way you could have tried everything because there's always another thing, like, I knocked on every door. We knocked on
Yeah.
every door in that neighborhood. Did you knock on every door in that neighborhood?
Yeah.
Did you do this? Did you do that? Did you try phone calls? Did you try emails? Did you try,
Yeah.
and like whenever you go like, "Hey, I'm not getting business," it tends to be like, "Hey, you're going about it the wrong way." And if you're making excuses for yourself of like, the external factors are what's keeping me from being success, then you're going to not be successful because you're not going to try everything. But when it's on you, when you bet on yourself, then you start digging deep and go, well, what else could I do? Where did I go wrong? What am I missing that I could what else could I try? And
Yeah.
to me, that's real powerful when you start to understand that. So how do you teach the kids about that?
Well, we teach them with conversations like that. We teach them that you can be reasonable and create a whole bunch of reasons why you're not going to be successful, or you can be 100% accountable and be successful. At the end of the week, Nate, you just put numbers in boxes. I got 4 leads. I booked $2,000. I went canvassing 8 hours. Whatever. Those are just numbers. There's no stories. I was cold. Well, my girlfriend, and I had a fight, or I watched a bunch of Netflix. Those are just stories. Oh, the customers weren't interested in that neighborhood. Those will just hold you back from your success. So, and one of the things is, rather than telling them, we have coaching conversations. So we would say, so this was your goal. So how did it go? And what, oh, you didn't do that. So what's the impact of that? How will that show up if you keep not doing what you committed to? And then they all of a sudden see, oh, I guess you're right. I can be reasonable. I can give lots of reasons and excuses, but then I just won't make the money I want to make for school next year. I just won't have that great life that I printed out and I painted with you guys early in the season. yeah, I should just give up those excuses. And you're right. And I can see David's doing it or Samantha's doing it. Why don't I do what they're doing? So
Mhm.
it's having them discover it, and also having them discover it not in a spot where they're feeling like it's wrong, or they're being bad, or they're being blamed. Because if they do that, guess what they'll do? They'll throw sand in the air, and they'll lie, right? They'll kind of scream out, not really tell you the truth. So the real key is have people discover with you in conversation about how to perform at a higher level.
Yeah. And I like how you broke it down to it's checking boxes, and it's simple math where there's no stories, there's no emotion to it. And you
Yeah,
just kind of like learn. I think that's an amazing lesson to learn at 18, because so many of us, myself included, doesn't figure that out until later on in life. And by then you're kind of set in your habits and you don't want to
yeah,
go back and face our consequences. But if you go, why didn't you meet your numbers? Well, I didn't get enough sales. Why didn't you get enough sales? Well, it probably stems down, you didn't talk to enough people, right? And you said,
yeah,
did you get out of your cold card? No, I didn't do that. Well, right there, you missed. If you
yeah.
don't have enough conversations, you're not going to get down to the bottom thing. There's a simple math formula. It's
Yes,
different for everybody, but there's a math formula. And if you talk to enough people, you're going to have conversions to sales. And the more people you talk to, the better you get at it. And I think that's something
yeah,
that doesn't happen as often as it did for kids. Like I had a paper route when I was little. I had to go
yeah.
around knocking on doors and collect
Yes,
paper route, and now
it's all
you
gone
can
away
do
now.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's
Well,
definitely good stuff.
and one other way that we do it is we take our operators and they tell stories. So we have an operator who second year in our program did $500,000 worth of business in Toronto. Okay, while in full time school. So he would have made over $200,000. Like
Mhm.
ridiculous, hard to believe. You can't believe that. That's not possible. And I get it. And he gets up in front of our teams and tells them about what he did. And one of the biggest things he talks about is the power of input. So every day from the middle of January until the middle of July, Monday to Friday, he went canvassing with his co-manager for 3 hours. So every day. So it's like, oh, okay. And I just kept talking to more customers and kept talking to more customers. And then every Saturday and Sunday, go and set up a whole bunch of estimates where people would say, oh, I want to choose you. And so, just that input creates amazing results like it does with amazing athletes. You look at LeBron
Mhm.
James. Do you think he works out a little bit? I think so.
Yeah. I was reading the book Relentless. I don't know if you've read that one,
Yes,
where it
I
talks
have.
about the difference between the LeBron James, the Kobe Bryants, the Michael Jordans, between two other superstars. And
Yeah,
it's really, they just go into a deep dark place and work hard and grind it out more and more than anybody else, because they just know, like, hey, if I want to take it to that next level, it's not my skills that get me there. They
yeah,
only got me so far. It's going to be my
yeah,
drive, my work ethic, the input I put in. So I love that stuff. So I do want to ask you. We've talked around a lot about what it takes to be an entrepreneur. So
yeah.
what does it mean to you to be all in on an idea or an outcome?
So I love the whole concept of all in. To me, it's willingness. It's just being 100% willing. And I'm going to tell a sports story. So I used to be an elite athlete. My friend, um, uh, he was a world record holder, won 2 silver Olympic medals, and he swam at the University of Florida. And so he swam with a whole group of Olympians, world Olympians, Americans, Canadians, some Europeans. And they would swim every day, 2 hours swim sessions. And so he was off school that year. And it was like willingness. It was what is it about being all in? He said, well, I decided I was going to do more during the days because I wasn't in school. So I did 1,000 push-ups and 1,000 sit-ups every day, all year long, on top of two-hour swim workouts. And that leads to a silver medal in the Olympic Games. So what's it about is it, and why do you do that? Because he really wanted to do that. And also to speak to his life rocks. He's transferred his skill sets and his mindsets and his habits into really successful family and a successful financial career. And so to me, it's building those habits. It's being committed, and it's wonderful to feel that I'm committed. When I say I do something, I'm going to do something. It feels great getting up in the morning and just being that way.
Mhm.
And that's to me what all in is.
I love that answer is just defining who you are by the actions you put in. So
Yeah.
awesome stuff. So we talked a little bit about what you're doing, but really, who is that student you're looking to get this message in front of? Who is your ideal audience that you want to speak to and connect with?
Yeah, so we're looking for amazing young students who want to have big careers, who want to be leaders. I guess they need to be situated in Eastern Canada. We have spots in every spot of Eastern Canada, and so that's who really our ideal customer is.
Okay, awesome stuff. And where can they go to find you and get connected with you?
Well, they can find me on LinkedIn. Our website is studentworks.com, and they can find me through there. And then also, if they want to hear inspiring stories of amazing alumni of our program, they can go to the Leaders of Tomorrow podcast.
Awesome stuff. Glad to have a chance to speak with you. I think you're doing amazing things. You're making huge impacts in people's lives that you can like really go back and look at and see. Like
Yeah,
a lot of times we don't know the impact we've made, but you're seeing it. And I think that's
yeah.
pretty special what you're up to.
Well, thank you very much, Nate. It's been awesome, and and again, I think you feel the energy I have, and one of the reasons why I'm so connected to the alumni that we've created is it gives me so much energy in the work that I do because I feel like, all right, we're making an impact. All right, this is great, So yeah, so thanks so much.
Thank you for coming on.
Okay, cheers. Take care. Bye bye.